Hey there, STB sports fans. I'm Max, and we're back with another video. This time, I'm once again here with my co analyst, Andrew. He's been promoted for the week since Sam's out. Today, we have a pretty fun segment for you guys. I hope you guys will like it. It's our NFL playoff picture through week 14. So, first off, we're going to give you guys the current playoff bracket and each team's percentage chance to make the playoffs. And then we'll move into our predicted playoff bracket and how we think each conference will have its seeds stacked up when the playoffs roll around. So without further ado, I think we're ready. So we'll go ahead and get you with the AFC current playoff bracket.
All right. So currently in the AFC, the number one seed is the Kansas City Chiefs. They are sitting at 12-1 right now, and they have clinched a playoff spot, so they have a 100% chance of making the playoffs. At number two, we have the 11-2 Pittsburgh Steelers. They also are in no matter what, so they have a 100% chance. At the three seed, we have the 10-3 Buffalo Bills. They basically have a 100% chance. Things would have for them not to make the playoffs, so they have a 99% chance. At number four, the 9-4 Tennessee Titans, 95% chance to make the playoffs. Currently sitting at the five seed, the Cleveland Browns, 91% chance of clinching a playoff spot. At six, we have the Indianapolis Colts with an 85% chance. Number seven, the Miami Dolphins, 8-5, and they have a 43% chance to make the playoffs. In the hunt, the Baltimore Ravens, they're 8-5. They have a 74% playoff chance. Max will tell you why. 7-6, Las Vegas Raiders are also in the hunt with a 20% playoff chance. And then the New England Patriots technically still could make it. They have a 4% chance. So, Max.
Yeah, so this right here is our STB Sports AFC playoff bracket. This is what we see happening throughout the next couple weeks of the AFC season. So let's go ahead and get right into it. So, as many of you probably guessed, we do have the Kansas City Chiefs sitting at that number one seed. We expect them to go 15-1 over their last three games. The really only notable contest there is going to be against the New Orleans Saints. There's going to be a pretty big test, but I think the Chiefs are going to come out on top, basically due to the fact that their high-flying offense is going to outscore the New Orleans offense, which really hasn't been putting up a ton of points lately. The 2 and 3 seeds are actually the first big change that we're predicting. We're going to go ahead and take the Buffalo Bills to take over the 2 seed from the Pittsburgh Steelers, and here's why. So the Steelers, we have finishing up 13-3. I know that they only have 2 losses right now, but in the next 3 games, they have to play both Indianapolis and at Cleveland. So between those 3 games, I'm not sure which one they'll lose, but I'm going to go ahead and guess that they aren't going to make it out of that stretch without a single loss. Now, what that means is they're going to have a 13-3 record, and if the Bills also end up 13-3, they will lose the head-to-head tiebreaker and move into the 3 spot. So the Buffalo Bills, I'm guessing, won't lose another game. They play at Denver. That's an easy win. At New England, could be tough because of Belichick, but the team really isn't that good in Foxborough. And finally, they finished the season with Miami, who is a very good team, but I just think the Bills are a little bit better. So I'm going to take the Bills to take over that 2 spot from the Steelers. So moving on to the 4 seed, we have the Tennessee Titans. We have them finishing up 11-5. So we think that they're probably going to easily beat Detroit and Houston, but their one loss will come when they have to play at Green Bay. This is a huge game. I think they will probably end up losing. The Packers are just too good. The reason we have them in the 4 seed is because we see them finishing with the same record as the Indianapolis Colts, and consequently would then win the AFC South tiebreaker and win the division with the 4 seed. So at number 5, we have the Cleveland Browns. They're coming off a loss and are 9-4. However, I don't think they're going to lose another game, or they might actually. They could lose another game, but I don't think they'll lose the 5 seed. They play both teams from New York, very easy wins, and then they play Pittsburgh, and they're going to be at home for that game. So that could be a tough game for them, but I do think that they will hang on to that 5 seed. Next up at the 6th spot, we have the Indianapolis Colts, also at 9-4. We're going to give them one more loss as well. Their really biggest game is going to be at Pittsburgh. They have to play at Pittsburgh. I'm not really sure how this game is going to go. I'll have to wait and see what I end up picking as it draws closer. That said, I do think there's a decent chance the Colts will lose, and that's why I have them finishing 11-5 in the 6th seed, right behind the Tennessee Titans for the AFC South title. And then our last real mover in the playoff rankings for us is going to be the Baltimore Ravens. So they are 8-5 and are currently tied with the Miami Dolphins at 8-5 for that 8th spot. However, the Dolphins right now have the tiebreaker. However, as Andrew kind of said, the Ravens have a 74% chance to make the playoffs, while the Dolphins only have a 43% chance. And here is why. It's all about strength of schedule. So the Baltimore Ravens, the rest of their schedule, their remaining 3 opponents combined have a 21.8% winning percentage through this entire season. So that means that the rest of their schedule is a breeze. They will likely win out against Jacksonville, the Giants, and Cincinnati. On the other hand, the Miami Dolphins have one of the hardest schedules remaining in the NFL. They have to play New England, Las Vegas, and Buffalo. Those are all possible losses for this Miami team. We have them finishing 10-6, the Ravens finishing 11-5, and as a result, they would then take the 7 seed in the AFC. Those other 2 teams down there, they definitely have had good seasons, and they likely will finish somewhat strongly. However, we don't see them being able to squeak out a playoff spot just based on how many teams would have to lose to let them into the playoffs. So with that said, let's move on to the NFC.
All right. In the NFC, currently the number 1 seed, the Green Bay Packers at 10-3. They have clinched a playoff spot. There's no way that they will not make the playoffs. At 2, the New Orleans Saints, they're 10-3 as well. They also have clinched a playoff spot. At number 3, the 9-4 Los Angeles Rams. They have a 99% chance. Similarly to the Bills and the AFC, stuff would have to go really weird for them not to make the playoffs. Next, on top of that NFC East division, in the 4 seed would be the Washington Football Team, 6-7. They have a 6-3 or a 63% chance to make the playoffs. At the 5 seed, the Seattle Seahawks, 99% chance to make the playoffs. At 6, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They have a 94% chance to make the playoffs. And then at 7, teetering on the edge of the playoffs, the 7-6 Arizona Cardinals. They only have a 51% chance to make the playoffs. So Max, let's see why.
Yeah, so let's get into this STB Sports NFC playoff bracket. This is what we think is going to happen. You might notice there's not a lot of movement here, but there could be some interesting things that happen that cause this to occur. So for the Packers, I really don't see them falling out of that number 1 seed. We're keeping them there. We're going to have them finish up 13-3 with the best record in the NFC. They have a pretty easy remaining schedule. They do have to play Tennessee. Could be a good game to watch, but I do see Green Bay taking it, finishing 13-3. The 2 seed, we're going to have New Orleans Saints. They're going to get Drew Brees back very soon, which will definitely help out. Taysom Hill's good, but he's not great. I do think they will win 2 of their remaining 3 games. However, they do have to play Kansas City, and I think Kansas City is going to be too much for them, especially if Drew Brees plays. He will just be back from injury. So definitely a good game to watch, but I do think that Kansas City will beat them and make their final record end up 12-4. So I was almost tempted to go ahead and put the LA Rams ahead of the New Orleans Saints and give them the 2 seed. However, their remaining schedule looks a little bit rougher than New Orleans. So they do play the Jets. So, of course, that's an easy win. But then they play 2 more NFC playoff contenders, Seattle and Arizona. So both those teams could beat them. I'm not saying they will because LA has beaten both of them in the past. But you could see losses there making LA the definite 3 seed. However, if they somehow won out, and something weird happened with tiebreakers, I'm not 100% sure how they work, to be honest, then LA could end up jumping New Orleans for the 2 seed. Personally, I don't think it's going to happen. At the 4 seed, of course, the NFC East King Washington Football Team, we have them finishing up 8-8. We think they're going to beat Carolina and Philadelphia. However, I think they will fall to Seattle coming up in the next week, giving them a perfect 500 record. They are red hot right now. And I just don't see them losing that lead to the Giants based on strength of schedule and the fact that the football team already has a game advantage on them. So as a result, I'm going to go ahead and take the football team as the 4 seed in the NFC. So this is our big switch. We're going to have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers jumping the Seattle Seahawks for the 5 seed. So the Bucs, I say, will win out easily. They play Atlanta twice and Detroit. Both teams are not very good, and as a result, I think the Bucs will finish up with a pretty easy 11-5 record. The Seahawks, on the other hand, have a pretty dicey schedule. They play Washington, the Rams, and San Francisco. All decent teams. They could lose to all 3 of those teams. I don't think they'll lose all 3 games, but they could definitely lose a couple. And as a result, I think I'm going to put them below the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Personally, I think they will finish 11-5, but perhaps lose a tiebreaker somewhere in there, and that's what's going to push them down to the 6th spot. And then sliding into the 7th spot, I'm going to take the 7-6 Arizona Cardinals. I think they're going to go ahead and finish up 9-7. They play Philadelphia and San Francisco, 2 games I think they could win. And then they play LA. So LA could probably beat them, and that's where I think they'll find their 7th loss. However, I think it'll be enough to squeeze into the playoffs because, as you can see down below, the teams that we did have in the hunt, the Vikings and Bears and Giants, I just think that they're going to have too difficult of schedules, those 3 teams, to overcome their earlier losses in the season and jump into the 7 or 6 spots. For example, like the Vikings, they have to play New Orleans away. I don't see any way they could win that game. They're going to need to make the playoffs. The Giants have to play Cleveland and Baltimore. I don't see how they could jump the football team for that NFC East title. The Bears have to play Minnesota and Green Bay. I don't see them winning either of those games, and I think they just went on too big of a losing streak to make up for it. So as a result, I'm going to go ahead and take those 7 teams as my NFC playoff contenders. So that is our NFL Week 14 playoff prediction. I hope you guys all enjoyed it. Please make sure to hit us with a like and a subscribe for more content like this. We really enjoyed making this video, so I hope you guys enjoyed watching it. And without further ado, I'll hit you guys with a have a great day and peace.